Hi, welcome to End Times Signs in the Headlines, brought to you by the Light of Life Ministry. I have a few headlines that are trending this week in the headlines that I'd like to share with you. Feel free to join us, by the way, at endtimesigns.wordpress.com, where you can become a follower, or you can join us on Facebook as well. Just click on the link on our blog and it will direct you right to our Facebook page. Like it and receive updates on your Facebook wall. Recently, a pair of young boys in Cheshire, England, were suspended from school after refusing to pray to Allah. The prayer was designed to be a practical demonstration of how Muslims worship. The demonstration likely stems from the pressure from the Council of American Islamic Relations, who have been demanding that the country make significant accommodations for Muslim students. CARES has been provided instructional materials called An Educator's Guide to Islamic Religious Practices, which asks schools to allow Muslim students who want to attend congregational worship to request a temporary release from school. In fact, in Dearborn, Michigan, CARE asked public schools to allow Muslim students to leave early every Friday. Of course, the superintendent complied, and similar situations are taking place all over the country. Life on Earth has just changed as the North Atlantic Current is gone. The latest satellite data establishes that the North Atlantic Current, also called the North Atlantic Drift, no longer exists, and along with its Norway Current. These are two warm water currents that are actually part of the same system that has several names depending on where in the Atlantic Ocean it is. The entire system is a key part of the planet's heat regulatory system. It is what keeps Ireland and the United Kingdom mostly ice-free and the Scandinavia countries from being too cold. It is what keeps the entire world from another ice age. This is pretty serious because without the current, that means that the oceans will soon be stagnating. And as we know, it is prophecy, and we'll soon see even more sea life washing up as the seas die. Very sad news indeed. A pro-life legal organization has filed a federal lawsuit against a police department in Mississippi for violating the civil rights of Christians who conduct pro-life ministry outside of the last remaining abortion facility in the state. The Life Legal Defense Foundation filed suit on Wednesday against the Jackson Police Department on behalf of the organization Pro-Life Mississippi and 8 Christians for what has been described as a blatant and ongoing violation of free speech rights on pro-life advocates. The civil rights action challenges specific police misconduct as well as policies, customs, and practices of the city of Jackson, whereby it continually infringed and continues to infringe upon the free speech rights of citizens by unlawfully arresting, citing, and threatening to arrest such citizens for conduct that is protected by the First and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, as well as the Constitution of the state of Mississippi. The Jackson Police Department has routinely harassed pro-life citizens who have been peacefully exercising their legal right to oppose abortion in the public square and offer information about life-affirming alternatives to women seeking abortion, stated Foundation President Dana Cody. This case centers on threats and arrests over the past year at Jackson's Women's Health Organization, the last remaining abortion facility in the state. As previously reported, Cal Zastro, one of the Christians named in the suit, told Christian News Network last year that he believed the Jackson Police Department has been trying every avenue possible to force Christians who conduct outreach at the facility to leave. A waterway in eastern China has mysteriously turned a blood red color. Residents in Zhejiang province said the river looked normal at 5 a.m. Beijing time on Thursday morning, and within an hour the entire river turned crimson. Residents also said a strange smell wafted through the air. The really weird thing is that we have been able to catch fish because the water is normally so clear, one local villager commented on China's microblogging site Weibo. Inspectors from the Wenzhou Environmental Protection Bureau said they have not found the cause of the incident, although water samples seem to indicate the suspicious color was a result of illegal dumping in the river. Must have been quite a dump. Why are so many plagues hitting the United States all of a sudden? Yes, one can always point out bad stuff that is happening somewhere in the country, but right now we are facing a nightmarish combination of crippling drought, devastating wildfires, disastrous viruses, dying crops, and superbugs that scientists don't know how to kill. And as you will see, we even have a plague of flies down in Mississippi. More on that in a future story coming up soon. So, what in the world is going on? Is it just a case of bad luck, or is it something else happening? At the conclusion of this article, please feel free to tell me what you think. The following are 10 plagues that are hitting America right now. Number 1, the plague of flies in the upper Mississippi River Valley. Number 2, the chikungunya virus. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Number 3, the wildfires out west. 4, the drought in California. 5, the virus that has killed millions of our cattle. 6, citrus greening. 7, bananas going extinct. 8, the number of earthquakes is increasing. 9, superbugs. And 10, Fukushima. Feel free to read more in detail about each of these plagues that are affecting America right now at our blog. Earthquakes are increasing in the UK. New figures show the number of earthquakes recorded in the UK is increasing. The highest level of detections in the last decade is set to be registered for 2014, with 100 earthquakes already recorded in the first 3 months of the year and 149 total up until July. This compares to 154 throughout 2013, 64 in 2006, and 111 reported in 2005, 7, and 2011. One small tremor, which centered on Jersey and Guernsey and the Channel Islands earlier this month. The quake had a magnitude measuring 4.2, making it the largest in the region for almost 90 years, and the tremors were felt felt all along the south coast of England. The tremor was reported to have registered on British Geological Survey monitoring station equipment in Exeter, Devon. Environmental activists fear the government's desire to exploit shale gas reserves in rocks beneath the UK will cause small earthquakes. But ministers believe the technique used to tap into the potential supplies, known as fracking, will bring down energy bills and create thousands of jobs. The UK earthquake data covering June 2004 to July 2014 was released to Parliament in response to a written question from the Labour's Tom Greatrex. Hours before, Texas Governor Rick Perry announced he would send National Guard troops to the border. Texas State Senator Dan Patrick said there are at least 100,000 illegal immigrant gang members in the state. On Monday's The Laura Ingraham Show, Patrick, who is also the Republican candidate for lieutenant governor, said from 2008 to 2012, 143,000 illegal immigrant criminals were arrested and jailed in Texas. He said these were hardened criminals, gang members, and other criminals that were identified as being in Texas illegally. We charged them with 447,000 crimes, 500,000 crimes in 4 years, just in Texas, including over 5,000 rapes and 2,000 murders, Patrick said. We estimate we have 100,000 gang members here illegally. Patrick also observed during his trips to the border and detention centers that many of the young children were teenagers and with parents and family members. He said there is a concern that some are gang members and that potential terrorists can exploit the porous border. In addition to the public safety threat, Patrick also discussed the strain on local schools and other public resources and accused the Obama administration of luring more illegal immigrants to the country after unilaterally enacting the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA program. He also accused the Obama administration of sweeping human beings under the rug by putting illegal immigrants on buses to cities across America and releasing children to adults who may not be their family members. Patrick also said Border Patrol agents have found hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies on our side of the border as more migrants try to trek the United States hoping to get amnesty from Obama. Noting that 60,000 illegal immigrant children have been apprehended since October of last year, Patrick said the law enforcement officials told him that somewhere between 1 in 5 and 1 in 10 illegal immigrants are actually caught, which means there could be at least 5 times as many illegal immigrants who have snuck into the state. You do the math, Patrick said. This year's mayfly hatch in the Mississippi River reached biblical proportions. The mayfly emergence in this annual event, in which mayflies leave the Mississippi River after 1 or 2 years of incubation. The flies live up to 36 hours before they return to the water, lay a new crop of eggs, and die. The La Crosse, Wisconsin branch of the National Weather Service reports that the mayflies caused a 3-vehicle car crash as they descended over the town. The flies caused a bow echo in the NWS radar, which normally occurs during heavy rains, and proceeded to make a Wisconsin road slick, causing a driver to lose control of her car. 2 people were injured in the crash, and 1 was treated at a local hospital. Wisconsin residents captured some stunning, read horrifying, images of the mayfly emergence, which happened on Sunday night. Bob Livingston of Personal Liberty Digest has posted an email written by Colorado Undersheriff Ron Trowbridge. In the email sent to a blogger, Trowbridge describes how Christians and so-called sovereign citizens are actively demonized by the government, and troopers are trained to consider them dangerous, even terrorists. The letter was also posted on the Red Statement's website on April 5th. Trooper Joe Klaczynski, a CSP analyst with the Colorado Information Analysis Center, used training materials provided by the Department of Homeland Security. Infowars.com has documented how the DHS works hand in hand with the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League, 2 organizations that specialize in churning out propaganda designed to demonize and marginalize patriot and constitutional groups. DHS boss Janet Napolitano showered kudos on the ADL during a conference held in early 2009. In recent years, the department has placed our employees in your advanced training school to educate us on the tactics used by extremists and terrorists, Napolitano told conferees. In March, the Southern Poverty Law Center sent a letter to Attorney General Eric Holder and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, urging the federal government to establish a task force to investigate the supposed domestic terror threat posed by the likes of Alex Jones, We Are Change, Oath Keepers, the Constitution Party, and the Tyranny Response Team, and thousands of other Americans who dare question the government. On April 8th, Michael Snyder wrote about a U.S. Army Reserve training presentation that labeled evangelistic Christians as religious extremists and Christian organizations as hate groups. Topping the list is Evangelical Christianity. Fox News wrote about the presentation. Other organizations listed included Catholicism, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, the Ku Klux Klan, Sunni Muslims, and the Nation of Islam. According to Undersheriff Ron Trowbridge's email, the DHS-funded Colorado Information Analysis Center training session not only told troopers Christians pose a threat to law enforcement, but also asked if they would confiscate firearms if ordered to do so. What the government doesn't want you to know is what this military insider reveals. By now, everyone has witnessed streaks of white trailing across the sky, stretching from horizon to horizon, ultimately turning the skies into a murky haze. We can no longer ignore the fact that our skies are being heavily polluted with aluminum, barium, lead, arsenic, chromium, cadmium, selenium, and silver, all of which attribute to a host of health problems, including neurological effects, heart damage, eyesight issues, reproduction failures, immune system damage, gastrointestinal disorders, damaged kidney, damaged liver, hormonal problems, and more. The government is spraying deadly chemicals in hopes of population reduction. Furthermore, they have been known to use chemtrails as biological testing agents on the populace, all claiming they are nothing more than vapor. But we know better. You can watch a video where a military insider comes forward about chemtrails at our blog. And lastly, a huge EMV/UFO uses the sun's energy, July 22nd, 2014. At first glance, it looks like these objects are particles of the sun, but after analyzing a number of these so-called EMVs, these objects are more than just particles of the sun. In fact, these EMVs, electromagnetic vehicles, are real alien spacecraft using the sun's energy. The latest image on our blog shows a shape that looks like an EMV, a craft that was designed for flying and clearly rules out solar flares or any other natural object. The first picture of an EMV released in 2011, see the green image EMV, In our previous article, Massive Object Over the Sun, we suggested if NASA is hiding something. Today, according to BP Earthwatch, NASA removed large objects on the latest SOHO images, and there are missing timestamps. Again, you can view that video at our blog in timesigns.wordpress.com. Signing off for now. Be sure to visit us on our blog and our Facebook, and we will update you next week.